Just drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. As always, I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Nancy and Andres. How are you guys on this fine Sunday?
I'm doing good. Guys, you'll be so proud. I got up early and I went to the farmer's market.
And you got your coffee early. Look at
yes.
that.
I got a crepe. I'm ready to go. Normally, I'm rolling out of bed. Not today. I'm proud of myself.
I got my crepe and coffee. I got my CNC, baby.
Oh, there you go. There you
go. Did you end off your night a little early last night?
No, I actually went to bed at I don't know. Depends, I guess, what early is. I went to bed at 12:30-ish.
That's pretty early.
Oh, yeah. That's not bad.
Oh, okay. I usually go to bed during the week when I'm working. I usually go to bed around 11. So that's late for me.
Oh, see, during the week, because I'm getting up at 5 in the morning or so, I'm literally about passing out at 9:45-ish around here.
Oh, yeah. See, well, then 12:30 is late.
Yeah.
It's a late night. Go me.
I feel like it's subjective.
Exactly.
Oh, my God. No, but yeah.
You get up early, you do things, jamming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yesterday.
What was this, Nancy? We
jamming?
Jamming.
That's speed walking. That's what you're doing.
Yesterday we celebrated my nephew Ethan's second birthday, and then also because it kind of coalesces with Jen's birthday as well too. We also celebrated Jen's birthday on top of that, so we just had just a good date over at Cape Cod and just hanging out and catching up with the family. And I'm going to brag a little bit about some of the gifts I got Jen, but I got her an activator water bottle from The Substance. So, and Tom will know exactly what that is.
Gotcha.
I've seen The Substance.
You've
very
seen
much.
it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, last time we talked, you hadn't seen it. So what did you think?
It was really good. It was really gross.
Yeah, it's real gross.
Yeah.
Real gross.
Oh, yeah.
But very good. Yeah. How about you, Tom?
That was great.
I had an adult victory yesterday, and I fell asleep for the second straight time in the dentist chair. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
You fell asleep?
Yeah, because it just doesn't faze me anymore. I just went for a cleaning, and I was just I kind of just kept falling asleep.
I would be nervous. If I fell asleep, I'd move or fuck something up. Because they're
honestly, I didn't mind it. It went pretty fast, and it was over, and I was like, wow, I'm getting good at this. I was like, all right.
Was it just a cleaning, or was it a?
Yeah, it was just like a normal cleaning or whatever. But usually back in the day when that happened, it was traumatizing because it was just they were just get in there and just it would be super uncomfortable and painful and just
oh man, have you ever had a deep cleaning?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There was one time, so sorry, side note. There was one time I got a deep cleaning and they have to numb you for it because, they're obviously getting in there. But I think the lady didn't know what she was doing because she gave me a shot. And because I've had so many cavities, it takes a while for it to kick in. And she's like, oh, it's not working for your front teeth. So we're going to have to give you a shot on the top of your mouth. Yes. And I thought, I don't think that's accurate. You probably shouldn't do that.
Right.
Also, on top of that, I have bone growths in my mouth. So the roof of my mouth isn't flat. It has a little bone growth. So she gave me a shot in the bone growth. It was the most painful thing I have ever felt in my life. I was like, I could have done this without being numbed. That hurt more than the cleaning. So I was like,
yikes.
I'm never doing this again. I'm never going back to this freaking lady who obviously doesn't know what she's doing. So
I didn't mean to open that wound.
Yeah, that was my worst experience at the dentist. But other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, no, honestly, all the dentists that I've visited over in California have been all just horrible in comparison to the ones that I've seen in Chicago and in Connecticut. And I felt every single time that they've done some work to my teeth over in California, all of a sudden I just feel like every single thing feels off. It feels like they half-assed everything and they just wanted to get me out of the door. And I'm just I still got to do my deep cleans and I still got to get my teeth fixed out here. But who knows? Let's see if that's just a thing that just happened in general with everybody, or if it's just an isolated incident.
No, I got to tell you guys a story after the show because it's too long for this, but like it has to do with this whole thing. But
Nice.
it's been a journey that I've been on, but it's good. But other than that, though, literally the same day celebrated my sister's 9-year anniversary of her piano lesson company. So like that's been going strong, and she's super successful with it, and she's doing great. And it was a really fun day. We got to bounce around to some places out east and kind of celebrate. So that was really nice.
Oh, that's nice. You celebrated the successful sibling?
Mm-hmm. I'm so wait, what? The successful sibling? Holy
Wow.
shit. It's getting dark in here because the shade is really strong.
It took you a second to like catch on to what I said. You're like,
damn. All right, Nancy. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Just kidding.
There's a little bit of truth in every joke.
No, not at all in that one, to be honest.
That's hilarious. No, that's a good friend there. You got to get a good rib in there. But anyway, not to throw a rain cloud on this fun discussion, but before we head into today's show, I did want to acknowledge something that happened this past week on April Fool's Day of all days, which is really unfortunate.
I know. But also maybe to the personality of this person. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But it was still very sad regardless. And that was the passing of actor Val Kilmer. It was definitely a shock for me. I'm sure it was for you guys too. I mean, I grew up with his movies. I love him so much as an actor and a person. So I was really bummed to hear about that. But, I'm curious to hear from you guys. How did you guys react to it when you read it? And and B, did you think it was real because it happened on April Fool's Day? Because I've seen some like hoaxes happen on April Fool's Day.
Yeah. I was hoping it wasn't. I put in the chat, I hope it's him putting this out here as an April Fool's joke, and it wasn't real. But I kind of feeling it was. I wouldn't say I was necessarily shocked. He's had a lot of health issues, and his battle with cancer and everything. But it's still just. So sad. And obviously one of my favorite roles of his is Mad Mardigan and Willow, because that's just by far one of my favorite movies of all time. That and his role in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is freaking hilarious. I love him in that movie. And he's just so good, such a versatile actor. And of course, his last role in Top Gun Maverick was just so good. But I think that's a good role for him to go out on. I feel like he couldn't top that, pun intended. So yeah, he definitely will be missed. Sad.
Andres, how about you, bud?
Uh-oh.
Nope.
There we go.
I already said my piece.
Yeah, one job.
I said my piece already.
Yeah, I mean, on my end, I thought it was absolutely an April Fool's joke, and I was just like, I'm not going to believe that. And then when it started coming out on Deadline and it started getting reported by the big trades, that's when I was just like, oh god, like it. Seeing as Nancy said, his struggles health wise, and all this happened when he was 65, and it's still, I don't know why that still feels a little young to me, and it still feels like we could have gotten so much more from him. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where truly, like as you guys said, truly a versatile actor in terms of just in terms of his range and in terms of his ability to sort of, not necessarily want to be the front and center of attention in certain things. Like he knows when he needs to be a supporting character and he knows when he needs to be the lead. Like his role in Tombstone, he's absolutely one of the supporting characters, but he completely steals the moments in so many capacities. And personally for me, even growing up, he was my favorite Bruce Wayne, because I feel that he was the perfect blend of the Batman and also the suave, nonchalant,
so sophisticated.
The sophisticated mannerisms of freaking Bruce Wayne. I mean, like one of my favorite moments is when he's visiting Nicole Kidman for the first time. And he's just like, "Now I got to get you out of those clothes." It's like, "Excuse me." And into a black dress, just like those small little moments here and there. But also he played all those dark Bruce Wayne scenes so great to a T. But then when you really look at some of the other stuff that he's done, like True Romance, he's not even there. Like you don't see him on the frame, but he's a presence in that movie as Elvis Presley. And you're just like, man, he's killing it. He's killing it. And also, we'd be remiss to not talk about one of Khan's all-time favorite movies, freaking The Prince of Egypt as well, where he played Moses. And yeah, honestly, it's just a really sad day in Hollywood when we lost him. And, you know, he left behind such a legacy of a career, but also on top of that, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, especially in this industry, it's also good to see someone who just didn't necessarily succumb to the life or succumb to what Hollywood is in general, and just kind of just, you know, went out on his own terms. But yeah, it's definitely a sad day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in definitely a hardcore agreement with you guys. I mean, I haven't really been emotional about a celebrity death in my mind since Robin Williams. Like, that one destroyed me because I grew up with a lot of his stuff. And this one's very similar in the fact that, Jesus, what is going? Is there a motorcycle gang?
Sorry, I didn't know if you could hear that or not. No, they're doing yard work outside. But
Yard work.
Goodness.
It's
Oh, my
a
Lord.
weed whacker.
Jeez, I'm trying to pay homage here, and I fucking hear.
Your headphones are good. Let me just.
I think they've died down, at least for now. But I had a very similar reaction to when I read about Val Kilmer, because I grew up with so many of his movies. Like, a lot of his movies kind of shaped my taste in movies. Like, you know, he had such a versatility that was amazing. Like, I grew up watching movies like Real Genius that I could just watch again and again and again. Tombstone, one of my favorite movies ever, with one of my favorite performances ever from him. You know, Heat, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah. I mean, the list goes on. MacGruber, of all movies. Like, he's just he just literally knows how to show up and play the part that's assigned to him. He knows how to calibrate his performance to any movie he's in. And he's a playful guy. That's what I always loved about him. He could be a serious actor and really channel an incredible performance, you know, in like movies like The Doors, where he's incredible in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
But then, you know, he could switch gears to a movie like MacGruber and know exactly what movie he's in and be hilarious. And it was just, he was such a fun presence on screen. And I'm going to miss him dearly. I was always very upset when I heard about his battle with cancer and, you know, how he couldn't really speak anymore. But, you know, Top Gun Maverick was such a beautiful send off for him, not only for that character, but now for him as an actor. You know, I rewatched that scene naturally after hearing the news, and it really hit a lot harder because it almost felt like this beautiful swan song for him. So it definitely got me emotional. But yeah, I'm going to miss him like crazy. I loved Val Kilmer. He was hilarious. He was super talented and versatile. And it's a blow. I'm going to miss that guy.
Yeah. Let's raise a glass, guys.
I got my coffee. We can do that.
I got my Batman Forever cup right now, guys.
There, perfect. Here's to Val.
Cheers, man.
Speaking of April Fools, though, shifting gears here a little bit. This one I genuinely thought was a hoax. I genuinely thought this was a fake news, but it actually turned out to be legitimate. And I shit you not, people, there is not only going to be a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel that's going to follow Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character, but it's going to be written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by David Fincher. Like, this is something that's actually happening. Leo apparently is in talks to possibly star in the movie. But what do we think about this piece of news? Are we on board? Are we shocked? Are we confused? Take us through it, Nancy. What do you got?
I'm all of those. I don't know what to think. I am confused. I am shocked and slightly excited about this. I don't know. I remember really liking the movie. The ending was wild. I just never thought this was a movie that needed a sequel, where I could see like, yeah, let's keep going with this story. So yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes. And the fact that they have David Fincher attached to it, it's wild. I don't know. I'll have to see when a trailer actually comes out to make up my mind. But I would say definitely all three of those combined at once currently is my state of mind. That's
natural. Andres.
I thought this was a legitimate April Fool's joke. And now that it's actually real, I have to admit, I don't know how to feel about this at all. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I felt like it has a very strong first act and it has a very strong third act. But the middle just seems like it just doesn't know what it's doing. And it feels like it meanders for so long. And this is not talking about the Margot Robbie thing where everyone's just like, oh, all her scenes could have been cut. It's like all those scenes are great. But in terms of the movie finding itself, or the movie trying to make a statement about something, or just even serving the purpose, or just even stating its own purpose, if that makes sense. I don't know. It was one of Tarantino's misses for me, even though I still liked it. It was still a miss in terms of his entire filmography. Like, people talk about Jackie Brown as his sort of hangout movie as well. And I feel like there's more of a structure behind that movie than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the idea that it is getting a sequel just feels okay. All right, we're heading back to that world. Okay, what else do you have to say about everything with Cliff Booth and with Brad Pitt? Yeah, but probably the thing that still kind of gets me a little like, this can't be real, is the fact that David Fincher is directing. And David Fincher is one of those directors that he has so much pull in Hollywood that he doesn't feel the need to really do a sequel to any of his works. Not only also any of his works, but also a sequel to somebody else's work. And this doesn't feel like David Fincher, if that makes sense. And also the other thing too, this also doesn't feel like Tarantino as well. Like, Tarantino is infamously not ever wanted to have someone direct one of his scripts. Like, Tarantino is one of those people that when he's writing something, he writes something specifically for himself to direct every time. And this just feels off as well too, by the very fact that Netflix is producing. And Tarantino is such an advocate for the movie theater experience that this just sort of feels like the Harvey Dent moment, where it's like, you know, you either die here or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I'm like, Quentin, is everything okay? Or do you need a paycheck right now? That's kind of what I'm feeling more than anything else. So as far as the movie goes, it's a very strange melding of talent for that one. Will I see it? Yes. But I think we're also going to hear the headlines like literally a year from now, or whenever this movie is about to be released, Tarantino is like, they promised I was going to get a theatrical run and Netflix is not doing it. And it's like, yep, this is sort of on par for Netflix, guys. Don't get into bed with them. So yeah. So I truly don't know how to feel about this.
Maybe bare minimum we'll get another good meme out of it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I also thought this was an April Fool's joke. Especially, I read it, I was like, yeah, whatever. And then the next day, there's like, it's actually true. I was like, huh? I was like, okay. I have thoughts on this. I mean, I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Actually, that's one of my favorite Tarantino movies. I just love how much of a hangout movie it is. I felt like it was such a fun hangout movie, especially in the world of Hollywood during that time. And I just really enjoyed it. Never thought there was a sequel in there. You know, never felt like it needed one. I felt like it was good as a standalone story. I mean, I like the fact that Tarantino is writing it, but as much as I love David Fincher as a director, I feel like his sensibilities don't really lend well to the vibe of that movie. Like, I just kind of feel like he's mainly just made really dark films. Not to say he hasn't made movies with humor in it, but I feel like the vibe that Tarantino established in that first film, I feel like it's going to be a little bit hard to have like Tarantino's script and Fincher's sensibilities meld well in a way that I feel like will give you the same vibe and atmosphere. I just feel like there might be a clash of sensibilities there. That's my main concern.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just, especially since it's going to Netflix, I don't really love that, because especially that's a movie I want to see in theaters. I don't know, maybe they'll be able to give them like a limited theatrical run, but still it's not the same as like seeing, you know, a Tarantino movie in theaters like they're meant to be seen, or a Fincher movie rather. But I think this is mainly a Netflix thing because of Fincher and his relationship with Netflix. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I'll obviously watch it, but I'm not all that excited for this idea. I don't know. It just feels kind of like, why? But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm in full agreement with you on this. This just feels like, and again, Tarantino has said it many, many times, is like, if I end up making a project with Netflix, that's pretty much when I've finished having to say what I've had to say. And that is sort of what I'm getting from this meld, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I don't know.
I wish it was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt bizarre to me. But Anyway, speaking of sequels, now we're going to be heading into trailers. So this is a bit of a surprise. Yesterday, Disney dropped the first trailer for Tron Ares, the sequel to Tron Legacy and the third in this Tron series. Hits theaters this fall. I have some thoughts on this trailer, but I definitely want to hear what you guys think. This is our first peek at the movie. It looks massive. It looks very much in the vein of Tron Legacy. Let's start with you, Andres. What did you think of this trailer?
Okay, so I'm a big Tron fan. I loved the first Tron growing up. It's one of those movies that has stuck with me throughout all the years in terms of just how you portray that world and how you portray the digital realm. And it was one of those things where it truly opened up my imagination when I was a kid. And Tron Legacy, I will say I love the look of Tron, of the grid in that movie. But I would say that, the story was kind of a little shaky at certain points, but I loved everything else about it. And I think it has a very great look. Now we get to this, and my thought is that Tron works because of the fact that we still have all these moments inside the grid, and I kind of feel like this movie is going to try to split the difference between having scenes in the grid and having most of the story be in the outside world, and that's sort of kind of something that I'm not necessarily sure I necessarily want in a Tron movie, where it's like, okay, we're going to blend both worlds in, and everyone from the grid is going to be escaping out into the real world. And there hasn't necessarily been something where I'm like, oh, that looks amazing. It just kind of looks like what I expected it to look. And then the other thing, too, is the casting of Jared Leto as well, too.
That didn't take long.
Yeah. the casting of Jared Leto as the lead in it, and also with the fact that it's directed by, I can't even begin to pronounce his name.
All you need to know is he directed the Maleficent sequel and Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales.
I like the Maleficent sequel. Back off.
I mean, you can like it, but also it's one of those things where it's like, is it necessarily something that you would rush out?
I mean, it's not like Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is that he sort of feels like a director that Disney calls up when they can't get a director on board. They need something to come out. And he's what?
Like their Ruben Fleischer.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. He's basically just a guy that Disney just calls up when they need something done and they don't need a vision behind it. And honestly, this is just everything about this movie so far feels uninspired, apart from Nine Inch Nails' score in the trailer itself. Like, that's the only thing that gets me excited about this movie, unfortunately. So, what do I think about the teaser? I think it's a teaser, and then also it's not necessarily teasing me a story that I'm particularly really excited for, especially with Jared Leto.
All right. Nancy, thoughts, worries, issues, concerns?
So I haven't seen any of the Tron movies, just as
this will be an interesting take then.
Watch along.
Well, here's the thing. My friend in high school was so freaking obsessed with Transformers and Tron. By the time he tried to get me to watch it, I was like, this looks stupid. And I was just not about it. I was like, I don't want to watch this. So got to when they had a sequel, I had meant to watch them. Never got around to it, but I'm open to it. It's not like I'm more open to watching movies than I was definitely in high school. So, if I probably will go and watch the first two and then see this one. But I think because I haven't seen the first two, obviously I have a different perspective on this teaser trailer. I think it's a good idea for them to come to the outside world. I feel like with any movie, you're in your third movie, like going into what, I don't know what they call it. The digital world? I don't know. Whatever the word
it's the
that
grid.
Is, the grid. Okay. I feel like going to the grid for the third time, you have to do something different. I mean, look at Jumanji, the first movie, they were in the outside world. Second movie, they were into the game. So I don't know. I just feel like you have to switch it up, and I like that aspect of it. So watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is different. I like it. It looks pretty good. And then they get to the end and show Jared Leto, and I was like, maybe not so much. I'm not as on board as it was about 10 seconds ago. I feel like people think they can throw Jared Leto into any role and he'll do fantastic. And I just don't know when people are going to realize that is not true. It doesn't mean he's not a good actor. He is fantastic. Dallas Buyers Club, I feel like he 100% deserved that Oscar. He was so good in that movie. But over the years, I just feel like behind the scenes stuff on screen, let's just stop thinking we can throw Jared Leto into any role because it's just not true. And I would like for Hollywood to figure that out. So we shall see. I'll still watch it, but I don't have high expectations, especially considering I'm in the first two movies.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, really, the only thing that rubs me the wrong way in this trailer is Jared Leto. I mean, honestly, like, I love the whole idea of the grid coming into the real world. I feel like with your third movie in there, like, you know, splitting between the real world and the grid, like, we've done it before. Like, I just feel like you need to shake it up and do something different. And I like the whole visual palette of the movie of seeing the grid come into the real world, how that'll look. I especially love that shot of like one of those Tron bikes. What the fuck are they called? The light cycles? Tron cycles. Like that shot of the like splitting the cop car in half, I thought was so cool. And I was like, oh, this could potentially be a really cool action movie. And visually, I mean, I'm not surprised this is shot by one of David Fincher's cinematographers, one of his go-to guys. So like, it's going to look really good, I think. And the story looks interesting. I'm intrigued. It definitely does the job of what a teaser does. The Nine Inch Nails score sounds amazing. You know, it's hard to follow up Daft Punk, but they sound like very like in the same vein, but just darker. And I love that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see more. I'm definitely interested to see how Jeff Bridges' character plays into the story since you hear his voice in the trailer. So I'm definitely curious to hear how he kind of fits into the story. But yeah, I mean, I think it does its job. It's just, yeah, the Jared Leto thing, I just, it's just like, I don't know. At this point, it's just like I'm kind of tired of seeing him pop up in these movies where he's just kind of just delivering kind of a bland performance. It just kind of feels like, I don't know, he's almost taking it too seriously in this trailer. I don't know. It's just my gut reaction to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to see it. And I definitely want to see it like on the big screen for sure. But yeah, that's basically what I feel about this one.
I will also say one other thing too. Tron Legacy, it was probably maybe one of the best IMAX 3D experiences I've ever seen in particular. And just the way those images just wash over you and stuff like that. It is such a beautiful looking movie that I'm hoping that this movie even comes close to doing that. And I'm hoping that this movie comes close to sort of matching that palette in terms of just really giving us something truly, truly spectacular visually. But I mean, apart from everything, I just, it just looks like, oh, we just took everything, we just made it red.
All right. All right. Well, we'll see if that's true. We just made it red now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that movie plays out, but I'm sure the 3D will be bonkers good. I mean, the 3D for the Tron Legacy was amazing. So this is a movie I'll actually like go out of my way to see it in 3D because I feel like it'll be worth it. Oh yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely, I think it hits theaters in November, I think. October. Gotcha. So yeah,
birthday
so
month.
Definitely there you go. A little birthday gift for Nancy, maybe, kind of.
Maybe we'll see.
We'll see.
A Jared Leto movie for Nancy. Happy birthday.
Yeah. And this must be sequel week because we got another trailer for another sequel, and that is Megan 2.0, which we got our first big trailer. We got a teaser a little while back, which was pretty fun. But now we got our first big look at the movie, which hits theaters this summer. And I gotta say, guys, I'm kind of excited for this movie.
Me too. Okay, good. Yes.
I kind of love the direction they're taking. It's literally the Terminator 2 of Megan movies.
Yes.
There you go. They're literally doing the same swerve, but it looks like it's going to be so much fun. And it definitely is like leaning into the action movie vibes and not taking itself seriously at all. And I don't know. I'm on board. How about you guys?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this. When they released the teaser, I was like, ugh, whatever. We don't really need a sequel. It's her dancing again. They're going to do the same tropes, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. What a perfect way to make a sequel and not repeat yourself and make it fresh and new. And the fact that she's in that little cute robot so and funny. She's like, let me out. I can do better. Give me a better body. It's just so smart. It looks so exciting. I love that they have... she's like getting upgrades. We're gonna get robot on robot fighting. It just looks so so good. I'm so excited for it. And it looks funny still, which I like. They kept the humor in there. So yeah, definitely excited for this one.
Nice. Andres, how about you?
I was taken off guard when I saw this teaser trailer. I'm not gonna lie. I did like the original Megan movie, and then all of a sudden they start throwing in just all these moments that seem to belong more in a Mission Impossible movie, and you're just like, oh god. So honestly, they took the note that if you're going to go silly with this, go all the way, and I love the fact that they're actually doing it. So it took me a little bit to sort of tune into its frequency and just sort of see, yeah, it's doing the Terminator 2 thing. And you know what? If it's good, we'll have a better movie for it. It just depends entirely if Blumhouse can just pull out of the tailspin that they've been doing for the past couple of movies where they're just delivering stinker after stinker. And I just hope to God that this movie is actually really good, because I want it to be good. And I appreciate the fact that with the Megan character, it's still the same AI from the last movie. It's just in a different body. So you have a little bit of that. You have that little bit of character consistency for this movie as well. So I just love the fact that we're getting all these moments where she is half apologizing for doing what she did in the last movie, and then just sort of half just going, yeah, just remember, I wanted to kill you the last time, but now we kind of need to do this. but I love the fact that she still has it hardwired in her programming that she's to protect the little girl. So that is the motivating factor for everything going forward. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be fun. This is going to be a good palate cleanser before we get into the depressing world that is 28 years later the next week. So honestly, I'm so on board for this movie too.
Oh my God. Yeah, I I love the fact that where Megan just goes like, oh, you could take whatever her like stepmom or like aunt's character's name is, like, you could take her, but don't take the girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like where you really see her programming kick into gear. But I really I love the vibe of this trailer. I think it's super fun. I think it's got a great sense of humor about itself. I think the action looks surprisingly fun. And I like the overall vibe. I think this could be like a fun sequel that definitely is trying to do something different instead of just kind of copying and pasting from the first film. And yeah, I'm absolutely on board for this one. And I'm like surprisingly looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, I think also the trailer in itself is just smart. I love that they're playing Boyz II Men in the beginning of the trailer, because it even though it is a sad song, it kind of feeds into the kitschiness of it, the comedy aspect of it. So yeah, I think it's just in general too, the trailer is just very smart.
And also I love the fact that they're fully embracing how this character sort of became an icon in the gay community as well too. And they're like, yeah, let's lean into that. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, keep going along with that. With that small little moment that they have in the trailer where she's kind of become this big thing. And it's like, yeah, if we're gonna address that, let's keep going on down this road, guys. This is gonna be amazing.
I must have missed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'll Google it after.
There you go. I had tons of gay friends, so I just kept hearing about Megan for months.
Love it. And then shifting gears yet again to a movie that is just kind of looks bizarre, but in a fun way, is the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, One Battle After Another, which stars Leonardo DiCaprio. And I don't even know what this movie's about, but it's definitely intriguing to say the least. But let's talk about this first trailer here. What do you guys think about it?
Andres, you can go first. Oh, or not.
I thought you were going. Well, I'll go. I mean, I'll go first. So I will say right off the bat, I'm a fan of Paul Thomas Anderson, even though some of his movies don't necessarily hit with me. I love Boogie Nights. I really like Magnolia. I loved There Will Be Blood. I think There Will Be Blood is his masterpiece. But Licorice Pizza, I thought, was a massive disappointment. And honestly, it was probably one of my least favorite movies of that entire year so far. So And knowing that Paul Thomas Anderson was coming back again and to do something, I was like, all right, fine, I'll give it a chance. And, I kind of went into this movie going, all right, well, let's see, And I'm not going to lie, guys, this one actually kind of looks like it might actually have a good story behind it. And I am really intrigued by this whole story of revolutionaries coming together to sort of take out each other and to rescue. And it's simultaneously a rescue mission and a revolutionaries movie. And I'm just like, all right, I want to see Paul Thomas Anderson play in this sandbox. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Probably I love the casting of Benicio del Toro in this and Regina Hall and the small little moments that we've seen of them in the trailer. They're all great. I think probably the one thing is I'm sad to say, even though he is a very well-respected actor, I don't know, Leo DiCaprio, I think he's kind of fallen into that place now where he's just kind of playing himself in every other movie, except in different little visions of him. But honestly, I'm still very intrigued and very excited to see this. I will definitely say, definitely is a step in the right direction, at least for Leo on this one as well, where, it looks like his heart might be a little more into it now. but I'm actually really excited for this one.
All right. How about you, Nancy?
Yeah, not so much. I am definitely not a fan of PTA. I just feel like a lot of times his movies feel odd to be odd and don't really have a purpose. I don't know. I kind of felt very similar with this one, and with Leo, even seeing him in the trailer, he just felt out of place. I would say the most outlandish things I have seen him in, character-wise, probably would be Don't Look Up and Django Unchained. Character-wise, he was like very over the top with that. But those aside, I just feel like he's not really an actor I can see in these types of movies. For whatever reason, he just felt very out of place. And because the trailer is kind of all over the place, you get a very vague idea of what the movie is. It just didn't have enough punch for me, I guess. Because there's some movies when the trailers come out, you don't know what it is, but it's, kind of weird and quirky. And I guess Garden State is a good example of that. In terms of the trailer, it was very vague about what the plot was, but the scenes that were showing, you're like, okay, this is weird and odd. I'm interested. Whereas this is only somewhat interested, I guess. So yeah, not really. Surprisingly, I'm looking more forward to the sequels than I am an original movie, which never happens. So yeah, not as excited about this one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Paul Thomas Anderson fan for the most part. He has made some movies that didn't quite work for me. But this one I'm definitely intrigued by. I mean, the cast looks solid. Leo looks like he's just kind of going for broke. And it definitely has me intrigued more than anything else. But yeah, I'm not really sure how this movie's going to come together story-wise, but I do kind of like the vibe of the trailer. Like, it's definitely hooking me at least. But yeah, I don't know. This one is a strange animal. It's just, it's always great to see like an original movie come out and something that, you're definitely not expecting. Which I definitely get a sense of in this trailer. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be worth it for the performances more than anything. I'm not sure how the story is going to work. But again, this is just like the first kind of teaser trailer for it. So we'll see what other tidbits of the story we get in future trailers. But yeah, I'm like cautiously optimistic for this one, but that's about all I can say.
Fair enough.
There it is. Fair enough. Okay. Very short, succinct reaction to that one. But yeah, now we're going to be talking about the big movie of the week that we're going to be delving into, and that is Death of a Unicorn, the new A24 dark comedy, I guess, starring Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, and it follows like this father and daughter who travel to this like wildlife conservatory or estate or something like that, and they accidentally run over an animal, and they find out that the animal that they ran over is actually a unicorn, and then they bring it to this place, and of course this wealthy family that's there, instead of kind of disposing of it respectfully, they decide to mine it for all it has, its magical properties and whatnot, and then they realize that this unicorn has some siblings. and then it becomes kind of like a horror movie. But yeah, so we're going to be talking spoilers about this one. So if you haven't seen it, you're definitely going to want to steer clear of the rest of this episode. But if you don't care about it being spoiled for you, go for it. But you have been warned. So we'll talk about it generally first, then we'll dive into some spoiler territory. But what were your general thoughts about Death of a Unicorn? We'll start with you, Andres.
Yeah, so I was really excited to see this because it is one of the few movies that was still allowed to film during all the writer and actor strikes because A24 is awesome. And they're like, yeah, everything that you're demanding, we'll give it to you right off the bat. So there you go. So automatically, I was rooting for this movie. Now, having said that, honestly, for me, some of the movie worked and some of the movie did not work. And I think it stemmed from an uncertainty of tone at certain points in time. Like there's certain moments where it wants to be just like this meditative thing about death and about a family going through a grieving process. But then it sort of flips itself really fast into this quirky comedy with all these really terrible pharmaceutical people, which I loved all the stuff with them as well too. And especially for me, Will Poulter was the standout in the entire movie for me. He was just freaking hilarious all the way through. But I think the look and the design of the unicorns as well too, I thought was really great. And it gave us something that was truly formidable and something that truly did up the gore factor in certain capacities and made you guys feel that this was an imposing and a dangerous creature at that, but also while still keeping sort of the iconography of how this is sort of supposed to be a symbol for like, oh, it's a symbol of peace. It's a symbol of happiness to a certain extent, and just flipping down its ear. I feel like the movie had so many great ideas, but I feel that it kind of needed a more straight path in terms of melding all those ideas together. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I felt like the movie was just kind of sort of halfway there for me. And it has so many great elements, but I don't think it necessarily hit the mark on everything that they were trying to do. And on that note, it's one of those things where it's right down the middle of the line for me. And I kind of walked out going, okay, well, I saw that. And then it's been a week since I saw it, and I'm struggling to remember certain elements from it. And it's one of those movies that sort of feels like a cotton candy movie to me. It's really sweet in the moment, and then once you're done with it, you just kind of go, okay, well, what did I have?
Okay, interesting. Nancy, what about you?
Yeah, I think this is a fun movie. I think because it has such a unique premise, I had higher expectations for it, but I think overall it's still good. It's fun. If you're planning to see this, I would say just see it on a day when you want to go out and about and do something. I wouldn't make it like this. Definitely isn't a movie where like I need to go see this movie and I need to like make a whole plan around it. Definitely the gore was up there, which I appreciated. Mm-hmm. Man, in that first scene, when they first hit the unicorn, we'll talk about it later, but there is one part where I definitely did not see coming. So I do appreciate that. I think the problem with this movie is that there's a lot of dry humor in a dark comedy environment. And dry humor and dark comedy are just not the same. And there were a lot of things, because I have dry humor and like I appreciate that. There were definitely a lot of lines and scenes that I was giggling at, but no one in my theater was. Now, granted, there was only like 8 to 10 people, but there were a lot of giggles and a lot of laughs, and I think that's what they were going for. On top of that, unfortunately, I just think Tay Leone just did not perform what was needed for this movie. All of her lines felt like they were supposed to be funny, but the way she was delivering them just didn't come off right. Same with Paul Rudd. As much as a great actor as he is, it was just hard to see Paul Rudd doing things that were like, that's not you, Paul Rudd. You're the fun, like, dad character. You're not supposed to be doing all these things. So it was hard to believe that. But I do appreciate that Jenna Ortega kind of was the anchor for this movie, and she was just fantastic with her acting. I think if they had taken the lore of the unicorns that was in the movie and made it more of a through line, I think that would have helped it out as well, because I thought there were going to be some connections, which we can get into later, that would have made the movie made more sense. But again, I think it's just such a fun movie. I think visually it's a lot of fun. Again, the gore aspect is just amazing in this, if that's your thing in movies. Yeah, I think overall it's just a fun movie to go see. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah, so for me, I really wanted to love this movie, and I came out kind of hating it. I really didn't like this movie. I just felt like from like the get-go, something just felt so off about this movie. Like just tonally, I just feel like it just didn't like hit the right notes. Like I just felt like it was trying to go for this like dark comedy vibe, but then it was like trying to be a thriller, and then it was trying to be like a horror movie. I just feel like tonally it was just like all over the place. And this has to have probably one of the most like unlikable Paul Rudd characters ever, where I kind of feel like he was actually like miscast in this movie, not because he was bad. I feel like he wasn't like suited for a character like this. Like I feel like you have Paul Rudd, a really great performer, and you're not giving him great material to work with, and you're making him super unlikable. And like the whole arc of him like becoming a semi-good dad by the end, I didn't buy it. I just felt kind of rushed. And I don't know, just like it was the first time in a while I felt like, wow, I really just don't like Paul Rudd in this movie. And I almost never say that, like usually he's just always fun to watch. And he felt completely wasted. Jenna Ortega, I actually just kind of found to be kind of annoying in this movie. It's not like she was particularly bad. It's just the way her character is written is just very annoying and unlikable. Like I just didn't like those characters. Like Will Poulter and Richard E. Grant were kind of the saving graces of this movie because they knew what movie they were in. Like they knew what their characters were, what vibe this movie really needed to have. And when they were there, the movie was fun. It was really entertaining. And it's just like the unicorn stuff I felt like was also wasted too. I feel like that could have been a lot more fun. It felt a little bit like too gory at times, where like I equated to like there were some scenes I felt like that scene in Jurassic World where that assistant gets like kind of tossed from one like flying dinosaur to the next, and they show it for like way too long. Like that's what it felt like to me for a lot of that last act of the movie. And it just like the more it went on, the more I just disliked the movie and just didn't want to be there anymore. And like by the time the movie ended, I was like, I regret seeing this movie. Like I don't enjoy it. I just feel like there's a big L for A24. It has some moments where it can be funny, where it can be entertaining, but those moments are few and far between for me. But yeah, this one was a big disappointment.
If only someone would have listened to me about reviewing a different movie.
What, you want to review Minecraft?
Yeah, that was the only thing. That was the only other thing. I vetoed
that. No, you guys wanted to. And I said, I offered Women in the Yard, but that's okay. I also forgot Women in the Yard. What is it? The Women in the Yard?
Yeah, The Woman in the Yard.
The Woman in the Yard.
Oh, The Woman in the Yard, yeah.
Yeah. I also forgot, I don't remember his real name, NoHo Hank.
Oh, yeah, he was fun.
I loved him in this. I thought he was really fun. Forgot about him. But
yeah. And in terms of character actors that sort of feel like they belong in this movie as well, in terms of the performance, I thought Anthony Carrigan as the butler, the butler per se. I think he was the ball guy.
Yeah, NoHo Hank.
Yeah.
Oh, was that NoHo
Hank?
Yeah, that's NoHo Hank.
Yes.
Oh, that's his name. Okay. No, oh goodness. Yeah. No.
What's it called?
Barry.
Barry. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
that's how
okay.
I know him from.
I haven't seen Barry yet, and that's the other thing too. Is literally as soon as we came out, Jem was like, "We need to watch Barry," and I'm like, "Well, we're gonna see him again this summer, Superman."
Sure.
But watch Barry.
But watch Barry. But I loved all of his moments where like, just everyone around him was just being such a piece of garbage in terms of like, they're like, "You don't know me? Like, you don't know that I have kids? Wait, you really have kids?" And then there's this moment where he just goes, "Really? Are you really going to pull that card right now?" I thought all the moments where him were just like played to a T, and they were hilarious. And he was a big part of that in terms of having us buy the circumstance he's in. And you're just like, oh man, everyone's just really, really rooting against him at this point. And I thought it was great. I love the fact that Jenna Ortega was probably the only character that was just like, "We're really sorry about this. And we're really sorry that you're having to go through all this shit right now." I thought he was great all throughout.
I love the part where Paul Rudd is like, so there's no like omelet station or something, and he just like walks away without saying anything, and you think he's just pissed off, but then he comes back with an omelet for him. I love that. Very subtle things.
I wanted
like
more
that,
of him. Definitely wanted more of him in the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, well, like, what were? Did you have any like scenes that kind of like stood out for you?
Dude, when they run over the unicorn for the first time, so the whole movie, I think what I somewhat liked about it was I was like, yeah, if we found a unicorn, this is exactly what people would fucking do because humans are the worst. And I was just, it just made me so mad because I was like, this is realistic. This is what we would do. And so when Jenna Ortega is do you remember the movie Powder?
Yeah. Oh my God.
when he puts his hand on the deer and he like feels its pain, that's what it reminded me of in the beginning when Jenna Ortega, when she's touches the horn and then she sees everything and she's connecting with this unicorn, and then fucking Paul Rudd comes over with a tire iron and bashes its head in. I was like, oh my gosh, that was definitely a scene where it was like, okay, this is I see where we're going with the gore with this, but I think it was just a good. Yeah, it was a good scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, and probably, honestly, my favorite scenes in the entire movie was just all the ones with Will Poulter just being so oblivious to everything that's going on, and then also just the moments where he just goes, "Oh, okay, what if I just start snorting this?"
Yeah, that was like every time he snorted, he got smarter.
Yeah, he got smarter. He's like, "This is destiny. I have to do this. I know what my purpose is." Just how more and more eloquent he started getting when he started snorting more and more of the horn, and then just every single one of the problems, every single one of the solutions, all came back to him going, "Okay, all right, I have an idea. All right, what's your plan?" I'm just going to take the horn and I'm going to file it down more and I'm going to come up with a better plan once I snort it.
No, I love the part where they're like going to go like hunting for the unicorn. He's like, no, I'm going to stay back, go in the pool. That's where I do my best thinking.
Yeah. That's where I do.
Or when they're doing orders for friends and he's like, oh, what does he say? He wants a 8 gram or something. And the mom's like, that's a very specific number. He's like, oh, I mean, and it's like redirecting. Yeah. It's a good line too.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that like for the unicorn being sort of the title character of the movie, there's not necessarily a lot of scenes that, apart from the death, of course, that it just kind of turned into a monster movie at a certain point in time with the unicorns. We didn't necessarily get a whole ton of, not necessarily motivation, but we didn't get necessarily what their end goal was if they were murdering everybody there. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of felt like it, like, again, this is sort of the thing with A24 where it feels like a lot of their scripts need one more pass before it gets to the finish line because of the fact that they're doing everything so cheaply that it kind of feels like they're just green lighting stuff on first drafts. I mean, yeah.
They wanted the baby back, though. But baby back. Sorry. Yeah, it will always make me think of that. Yeah, because didn't they want the baby unicorn back? But the reason it didn't work the first time was because Paul Rudd had snuck the horn into his pocket. So they were like, no, we need that to like complete all this. So that's why they had like murdered everyone, then got into the house and blah, blah, so on and so on.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I buy that.
I don't think it's a good plot. I'm just saying it happened. That was the motivation they had.
But that goes to the entire thing of the movie where I'm just like, I didn't care for any of these characters. I didn't care about what Jenna Ortega was going through. I didn't care about what any of the pharmaceutical people were going through.
Her dead mom?
Did we understand it was her dead mom until the very, very end of the movie?
We knew she had a dead mom. No?
Yeah.
They say in the beginning.
They said that pretty early.
Yeah.
Did they say in the beginning? Okay, I totally missed that.
Yeah, that's she definitely has a dead mom. I thought it was gonna be something to do with the mom, because she's like, oh, remember when we went to that museum with mom and there's unicorns? And
Oh, what did
I
you
thought
think?
it
Like
was
the unicorn was her mom or something?
no. I thought it was
She
gonna
was
be
gonna
like, because
speak.
how it says, how in the lore it's like I don't know, a maiden, fair maiden, whatever the fuck is the one that can like calm the unicorns. I thought her mom was also going to be someone who could do that, and
Okay.
that's why like the mom purposely took them to that museum to see the tapestry of the unicorns and like blah, 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 something along those lines. Because it just seemed very random of like, oh yeah, remember that one time we happened to see this thing about unicorns? Seems like a big coincidence. So again, that's what I meant by like, I feel like if they would have made that more connected, it would have been better.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Yeah, and like I said before, it feels like a mesh of so many different ideas, but not any single one of them coalesced through enough to give the movie its own identity. And it just felt like again, this writer director, Alex Scoffman, I believe is what his name is. But basically, it just like he has not directed anything before this, apart from a whole bunch of shorts. And this does feel like a movie where it was a short film and it was extended to be a feature length thing.
Yeah, it was definitely too long.
Yeah, it felt too long. Probably my biggest gripes with the movie was the second act, because the second act just felt like it had no momentum. It was just, let's sit around and watch all these characters talk to each other. But the problem is the dialogue is so it hits you it hits you like a hammer, where you're like, okay, I get it. But people don't really talk like this either. And I think that was the point, but there is a difference between when you hear dialogue written badly and then, like, let's say you have characters where they're truly awful human beings, but you feel like there is sort of a flow to the dialogue. Whereas with this, it just kind of felt like, it felt very cobbled together, and the dialogue was maybe one of the weaker elements of this movie as well. So yeah, I think the only idea that they had was, what if unicorns were chasing after people and killing off everybody? So
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like you have this cool mythology with the unicorns, like that you could have explored more and you could have had more fun with. Like, I don't know. I just felt like this movie wanted to be weirder, but it was afraid to do that. And it became a little bit too conventional by the time it ended, or it's just kind of like a bummer. Like the whole climax felt kind of just like meh. And I should have been having way more fun with it. And like, look, Poulter was doing his best. Like, he's the MVP of this movie for sure. Like, he was in the movie I wanted to see, but we didn't get enough of. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Like, in the trailer, I was like, if that's the vibe we have, like his character and just kind of like that general, then this is going to be a great time. But it never embraces that fully. And I think that's the big issue. It just kind of felt just tonally way too inconsistent. And I just was very bored watching this movie, which was surprising.
Yeah,
I was starting to get knocked out in the second half, and then I was like, oh my god, nothing feels like it's going anywhere, and it just feels like we are like the movie is almost 2 hours long. And
why?
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours, and I feel like they could have cut out at least 20 minutes from the movie, and I don't think it would have affected anything. But it's all in that second act where they're looking at this unicorn, or they're trying to figure out what it is. And I felt like we spent too much time on that before we got to the unicorns actually coming in and causing mayhem. And that's not to say that there were certain great scenes in that second act, like when Richard E. Grant is eating the unicorn liver, and you can tell it's the unicorn liver because it's like it's purple on the side. I was like, you know what? That's like kind of like a really cool moment. But again, it's so many scenes that don't feel like they lead into each other. It just feels like, oh, we need a scene with this guy. We need a scene with this guy. It feels like there's no momentum in the writing, if that makes sense.
Well, and during that time when they are figuring out all the stuff with the unicorn, that's the time when you should have that dialogue that we're seeing in the trailers. That's the time where that's when the script should shine, I feel like, and you should be getting all those very dark humor type dialogue, and it's more like science-y. It doesn't quite work during that time. And definitely Will Poulter is the one that was, delivering it the most. And I feel like, again, Tay Leone, as much as I love her, I feel like this just wasn't her vibe. The things that felt like they were supposed to be funny, just didn't land right with the way she was delivering them. Yeah.
I feel
also
like
another line. Okay.
No, because speaking of her character, I'm curious. Like, do you guys watch The White Lotus at all?
No. I hear great things.
Jen has been watching it. The only thing I've been watching is
Taylor Leone's character reminds me very much of what's Parker Posey's character in the new season, who's like the mother of this like wealthy Southern family, and like the way she's playing it is perfect. Where like you understand, like, okay, this is the character. She understands the vibe and tone, and I feel like Taylor Leone is trying to be that exact kind of character just for like this kind of family, and it doesn't work nearly as well. So like when I was watching that performance, I'm like, if you went the Posey route, this would have worked, but no, like, you played it kind of weird. You could tell she was definitely trying to navigate the tone of her performance, and it was just very like imbalanced. Like I feel like sometimes it really worked, and then other times I felt like she wasn't playing it the right way. So ultimately, mixed bag performance.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree with you. Again, the movie doesn't feel like it has a solid direction or in terms of a tone that it wants to go in. That is my big gripe with any movie that doesn't work for me, is what is the tone and what is the established mood of the entire movie, and does it fall all the way through, all the way into the end? Because you can easily tell when a director is switching their mind every 10 seconds on how a scene should be doing. That's exactly why you need a singular vision, and this movie just felt like it didn't have that in any capacity whatsoever.
It just didn't feel like it felt like it couldn't make up his mind.
Yeah.
One more shout out to Will Poulter, though. I don't know if you guys said this
Give
when
him his flowers.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys said this when I went to grab my charger, but when he's hiding from the unicorn, he saw, he did find my crossbow. Now I feel bad.
Yeah, when he used the crossbow, he's like, I wasn't really that good with it.
When he doesn't save his mom, I was like, you douche. Like she was like, do it, but like kill the unicorn, put me out of my misery. He's like, no.
I'm good.
What a douche.
And going along with that aspect of like certain characters feel like they get endings that they don't deserve. Like I feel like she in the long run, I feel like she got a brutal ending in terms of getting ripped apart and in terms of getting like all her insides eaten out, and she's still alive. Like I'm like, damn, I know she's terrible, but that's sort of more for Richard E. Grant more than anybody else, even though his death was pretty funny, where he's like, oh, I can touch it now. Wham.
Yeah. But it's just very disappointing for me. I wasn't really a huge fan. I feel like A24 has been a little bit hit or miss too. Like I feel like they've come out with some really great movies, and then they come out with some that just don't quite hit the mark.
Yeah. They also always have really vague endings to their movies, which is interesting. This one is no exception.
Yeah, I mean, vague, but also it just felt like it came out of nowhere for me more than anything.
Well, it's
else.
like that's going to create more problems. That's not going to help.
Yeah, it's like let's knock the cop car off the cliff. Like what a weird ending. I was like, okay.
Yeah, but I did love. I'm going to keep calling him NoHo Hank. I can't remember what his name is.
Anthony Carrigan.
Anthony Carrigan.
Thank you. I do love when the unicorns pass by him and he's like, and starts rolling up his window.
He's like, hi.
Hi.
I'm glad he survived, though. I was like, of all the characters to survive, I'm glad he got out of there. Like that whole scene where like they're like, well, you're the only one who knows how the gate works, so you have to do it. He's like, why do I have to fucking do it?
It's like, are you really about to sit
I'm
out?
the gatekeeper. It's like, I don't know how this works.
He's like, you kind of are now.
I do love though when the cops do show up and Jenna Ortega looks around. And she's like, "Fuck!" Because like, how are we going to explain? Oh, unicorns did this. This was not us. You know, how are we going to explain this? So I did love that part.
Yeah.
But what would you guys give this out of 5 pints? What are we feeling for this one?
I'm going to give it 3. I think it was still fun. Again. I appreciate that they went for it with the gore factor. I loved, already forgot his name. Bad memory. NoHo Hank. And
already forgot.
Anthony Carrigan?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
You got it.
Practice
Loved him. Will Poulter was great. I think it's a solid 3.
Solid 3. Okay, Andre?
Solid 3. All right. Okay. For me, I think the cast is fantastic. I think Will Poulter steals the movie at certain points. The design of the unicorns are great. The gore and the death scenes really do deliver. And the movie is often really funny at points. But all that is overshadowed by the fact that I think the movie really feels like it has nothing to offer apart from the initial premise of unicorns are coming to kill everybody. And then also just, again, like I said before, the tone and the pacing feels so uneven, and it feels jarringly fast how this movie bounces between scenes that it just feels like it's not coalescing. And then the writing and the dialogue it feels repetitive, and it also feels very generic. So honestly, for me, this is a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Yep, I agree with Andres on this one. This one's a 2 out of 5 for me. I think it has moments of entertainment value, but ultimately I was very bored watching this movie, very frustrated watching this movie, especially with the talent on screen and just the really fun premise that it had. I just felt like it didn't do enough. I feel like it wasted its talent, and I just feel like it just didn't know what kind of movie it wanted to be ultimately, and that's why it didn't work for me. And I think that's why it's one of the bigger disappointments of the year so far. So I'm going to go 2 out of 5. So there you have it. But before we head on out, though, where can find you guys on the internet? Andre, Nancy. I feel like he always throws it to you first, and you're just like, I guess me. Oh, no, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was drinking my drink. I didn't want the ice all up in your face.
We need that ASMR in our lives.
You can find me at PL_Band-Aid on Twitter, Instagram, and of course here. Leave comments. I like comments. And go watch Powder if you've never seen it. Great movie.
Shout out to Powder. How about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Galaghost. You can also find me on twitch.tv as Galaghost209. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Galaghost as well too, where I do post up a couple of the recent movies that I've always watched, that just watched along and stuff like that. I finally watched Lilo and Stitch, so if you want to find out,
so did I.
Oh
wait, no, don't tell me. You don't have to tell me for reviews. Just give me a star out of 5. What out of 5?
I'll give it a thumbs up. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
That's so lame. Just give me a score.
Well, why is a star rating any different than a thumbs up?
A thumbs up is just like it's good, but a star rating is how good did you
I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yep. I gave it a 4.
Okay. I appreciate those numbers. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So there you go. Yeah. But you can also find me on the High Voltage Media channel as well too, and you can also find me editing Cinemojis as well for our dear friend David Judoy.
Is he next to you?
He's right here.
He's like right there. Come on out.
But that's essentially where you can find me.
All right. And then you guys could find me on YouTube and Facebook at Chattelbash Reviews. You could find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Chattelbash. And you could find me on Letterboxd at T Chattelbash if that's your thing. And thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode of Film on Tap. We appreciate it. Whether you listened to it or watched it, we appreciate you being on this journey with us for this episode. And until next time, we're Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. Take care, guys.